Thank you for joining, and thank you for the organizers and the team for inviting me into this amazing conference that definitely we would love to have a lot of like donation to support Ukraine kids. And it's our heart with you all over the time. So I would like to jump in to start my presentation. And let's keep the question at the end of the presentation. So I will finish, then you have the opportunity to ask me whatever you want. Just write it down and let's start. So this presentation is about Java Standard Edition, as Anastasia has mentioned, edition 20, which is just came out 22nd of March this month. It's a 6 months release feature. And as you know, every single edition came with some new stuff. There is targeted JIPs. And I would like just not to speak about the Java enhancement proposal, which is the main features of each GDK version came into play. And we have to download it and to try it out. And although there is a lot of like thousands of improvements and bug fixes, additions, that doesn't require literally JIP to be in the language. So I would like to speak about this. So also, I'm not just speaking. If you would like to have a more detailed, information about each release, I always write to Java Magazine, like an article about Java hidden gems, about 2019, 18, and each series. So in combination, all of them introduce what have been done into that GDK feature, including the JIPs and the new enhancement, which is the most important because I cannot mention all of the thousands of stuff, but things that are really relevant to the developers. So I have a sneak peek also about article. So when I share this presentation with you guys, you can click any link of those, and it will take you to the targeted article. So you can follow me because I always like trying to share what I'm doing, which next conferences I'm doing, and also about this kind of article and concept. So you can follow me or just Google my name and you will find everything. Let's deep dive into presentation now. So we have agenda, and our agenda will talk about the history. If Java, not the complete history, know everything about it, just about this release. And we will check out the features came with a project Ember, and then check project Loom, which features came in from this project targeting this GDK, and also from Panama, as well as definitely we have to see what is the improvement to the language API, which is classes, methods, whatever it is, something new happens, and compiler, whatever it is, we will see that and other stuff. And definitely because we would love to use in our production new stuff, we have to know about the APIs that has been gone and also has been removed or deprecated for removal. So about the history of Java, it's about this diagram actually and graph show you the release features that we are going through and how many features is targeting each release. And you can see that since GDK 8, which came out like in March 2014, with 56 key features, like literally key features, and behind the scene there is a bunch of enhancement happened. And then GDK lasts for more 3 years until we have GDK 9, and then we have 91 features that targeting, and then we have more than those like thousands of new enhancement. But this was like, it's a long time to deliver Java for the community. Since then the guys at Oracle started to think about like, yeah, we are innovate. We should be innovative. We should catch with the market. We are in cloud serverless era, and we should provide our innovation to the customer, developers, and the companies. So we will have 6 months release cadence. And since then, you can see starting from JDK 10 and from 11, everything start to be on the road, literally going on correctly. And since Java 12, we have the preview features, incubation features, which allow us to have all the features at hand with each release. Even if it's not feature complete, it's feature behind the flag, which is enable preview feature. We call it like this. And when we have all your feedback, we have it for production for you. So as you can see, the number of targeted, features for each release has been reduced, definitely because we are delivering fast, but also give you opportunity to understand what's there and how you make use of it. The two major LTS here, GDK 11 and GDK 17, and the next GDK LTS will be 21. This is because it's supposed to be 23, but uh, due to the decision has been made at Java 1 last year that the release, the gap between the LTS versions from Oracle, it will be 2 years, not 3 years. This is also will bring innovation to the companies and enterprise to move forward to production easily with the new features. So just enough about this. So now we are targeting GDK 20, and let's see the Project Ember features. Project Ember actually, this is the, we have in Java project names, and each project committed to deliver features towards certain topics. So Project Ember is mainly about is giving you a small feature and enhancement to the Java language itself. So this is where we're gonna check out today. So we have record patterns, and record patterns were actually introduced in Java 19, and the record pattern can be used with enter instance of or switch to access the field directly without casting and calling accessor methods. Let's take an example. Assume that we have the following record as a point, and I want to use it with instance of. We can use it like this. This code is allowed to be written since GDK 19. So you can see that I can check that the object instance of point, and I give the declaration, then I can easily, access X and Y directly. And similarly, it's with the switch. So what's enhancement actually happen in Java 20 is actually inference of the type argument for generic records. Second, enhancing the record pattern for for loops. And thirdly, we have more superfluous like, usage, and we need to standardize it, and we need to remove the named records. So it's more cleaner and clear. So let's have an example. Imagine that we have a box, and this box has an implementation of records, rounded box and triangular box, and which contain 2 and 3 values of T type, something like this. So we have it as an interface, and definitely we have a rounded box implementing that interface, and we would like to check about this hierarchy using instance of. So usually we can do it like this, and in our method here, you can see that we have the T type exists, and it's also as a return type of the method because it's a declaration, and we have to have it like that. So with Java 20, the compiler can infer T, and then you can omit it from instance of to check and the method signature as well. So you can have it like this. So you can have the box and box instance of record. Where is the type T? Actually, the compiler can infer it from the actual type that we have declared before or used it, so we don't have to use it anymore. So this is one of the enhancements that has been done into Java 20 for record patterns. And also you can do the same with a switch statement, and we will see this shortly when we speak about switch patterns enhancement. The second thing that we brought record pattern into for loops. So starting from 20, as you can see, you can have direct access to X and Y, not only from instance of and switch, you can have it from inside for loop. So imagine that I have a list of records. I want to make a for loop. In older way, we can do this like for points P, and if for each P inside points, I would like to access P.I and P to J. And nowadays we can use it like this easily without the cast, and using this identifier to call ing or X and Y, wherever you have declared it. So another enhancement is to remove the ambiguity. So this is the code that we can use until today, until Java 19, in order to access records patterns. So we have normally object instance of point P, and then you can, this is named pattern, so you can have P.I and P.J, and you have also the record pattern enhancement in GDK 19. which is object instance of point I and j, and you can access I and j directly. And also you have a third variant, which is combination between both, but it's not clear, to be honest. It's like object instance of p and I and j, and then you have the name of the variable p, and you can access in both ways I and j, and p dot I and p dot g. So the decision has been made to remove this third variant in GDK20 to just be allowed either using name pattern or directly using the fields, as has been previously mentioned. So this is always records pattern, and let's see what happens in pattern matching for switch. This feature that has been already gone through 3 rounds of preview actually, and in GDK20 is the fourth preview. So the first appearing since GDK 17 until 19, we can write a code similar to this. So I can have a case, and that case on the string, and I can also make a test on the properties of that string using when. It was and then we in GDK 19 we removed it for more readability and have the guarded pattern when. And you can also use case point if you would like to also check about the record, and you have ing and you can access it. So what's new here is two enhancement has been done that we would like to throw match exception for exhaustive switch rather than incompatible class change error. What does it mean? We will see it with an example. So the second is the similarly as we did with pattern matching record patterns, inference of the type of the argument for generics for records, similarly as we did it in instance of, but we will have an example to make it more clear. So consider the sealed class interfaces that we have here, record pattern, and we have sealed, we have point, and to make just use of this point inside these shapes, and we have sealed interface shape permit rectangle and circle, and we have rectangle and circle points that make use of the point record to identify where is it, and the circle with the center and the radius of this implementing shapes. So if I would like to switch over this, normally we use it like this. So we have a method that check about the shape. If the shape is case of circle, we can use the center and radius because the inference here happens automatically. Then this is not something new. It has been introduced since GDK 19. And then I just printed similarly for rectangle, and then I wanted to use it. So this is how I can use it. I will create a circle, and then I will use the method, and it will correctly print for me the circle. So now I would like to add a new shape, which is oval. And I can say, I can update the sealed interface shape to permit implementation for rectangle, circle, and oval. And then we have the modification, and then I will create oval in this way, which implements shape, and it's created. So now let's make use of this method, print shape. So if you are inside your IDE or J shell, you will definitely get this error when you run it, because attempting to call print shape, which cannot invoke until this error is corrected. Which error? That the switch statement does not cover all the possible input values, which is the cases, and then give you where is the problem is. But imagine that you have a really large project and you are using switch outside of the same program, and then you are trying to run it. And when you run it or you compile it, you will get this error, something like this. I have the source for shape and oval and app in different classes, and then I'm trying to just run main, and finally I will get an exception that says we have a exception match exception at app.main, and then you will know that this match exception means that the switch statement doesn't cover all the hierarchy of the shape permitted classes. So the second is, imagine that now in the inference, as previously, we have a box, and this box of type holds strings, and we can write it like this with case rounded box, and you have the type string, and if it's type triangular of type string, do this case matching, and so on. And now in Java 20, we can omit string type from switch statement as the following. So you don't have to have it anymore because it will be inferred automatically from the original declaration of the records. So this was all about Project Ember and the enhancement done so far. And let's check about Project Loom. Project Loom is about the concurrency, which brought to us virtual threads starting from GDK 19, finally, because there were a lot of development happen to this project since early versions of, like even GDK 10. There were like separate GDK, you can download it. It's called GDK, whatever the version is, dashed with Loom. And until it becomes everything around the GDK and APIs has been ready to merge this virtual thread features. So GDK 19 was the original introduction. And we hope that this virtual thread will be finalized in GDK 21, so we will have it when we will have LTS. But it's still until now preview features. So what's new actually came in from Project Loom into Java 20 with first incubation is scope values. When we are using threading and we would like to share data between threads, we are in all days we use thread local variable. And we introduced scoped value to improve for sharing immutability and also reduce the scope and give a lot of some more enhancement and performance for sharing data between threads and cleaning up process also. So they are preferred over thread local variables, especially when you are using large number of virtual threads. So it's an incubating API, and the goal of this proposal is to ease of use, provide ease of use mechanism to provide programming module to share data both within threads and the children of those threads, the callee, to simplify the reasoning about the data flow, comprehensive availability, make the shared data lifetime visible from syntactic structure of the code. And also robustness, because why? Because we ensure that the data shared by the caller can be retrieved only by legitimate callees. No any other thread can access it or change it. Like before, performance-wise, yes, because it's treated the shared data as immutable, so there is no change, and to allow sharing by the large number of threads and to enable runtime optimization, because whenever it is immutable means optimization can be done much easier because there is no expectation for changing the value. And it's not goal to change, to migrate away from thread local. You can use both. It's not something that you have to worry about. Both of them are going to be working, but you can just switch, as we're going to see, or to deprecate even existed thread local because it has been used extensively inside or with your code. So it's not the goal here. Finally, also, it's not the goal to change the programming language to cope with this kind of changes. We just have an APIs. So scope value, consider the following example, like web framework that you have a request response base, and as their server would like to communicate with database manager component, actually, and we would like to share the principle or the authentication of the user, principles of the user in order to obtain, is it allowed to obtain database access or not? So first we have to declare the static thread local holding the user. And second, we have to set that user after obtaining the authorization. And then when we call it application handle request and response, we call the database manager. The database manager would like to check about the user authentication. So he has to get it. It has to get it from the current user shared thread local. And then finally, after checking, either he can open the connection or not, I return the database connection. Definitely, we didn't want to change the syntax so much. So we if you'd like just to migrate using scoped value, you have just 2 line of change. Definitely change the declaration from thread local to scoped value. And secondly, when you run, you don't call application.handle, you just call scoped value where using where method, the current user and with the user, and then you call run method. And At the last stage, you just get it as normal. You get it from current user.get, and you get the data, and you check about it, you turn the connection. So what's new here? Together using run and where provide only one-way data sharing from the server component to the data access component in a immutable way. So once this method has been done all and the hierarchy has been finished calling, this data will be removed automatically, and you don't have to worry about removing this data from the thread local like before, or scoped value. So this was a great addition here, and there is some alignment has to happen into virtual thread and a structured concurrency in order to make use of the scoped value, and it has been done also. Now we are talking about Java Enhancement Proposal 436, which is virtual thread. This is the second preview feature here. And if you didn't hear about it before, a virtual thread actually introduced to the Java platform. Virtual thread are the lightweight threads that dramatically reduce the effort of writing, maintaining, and observing high throughput concurrent application, because you can just in the main thread, you can generate millions of virtual threads. And because it's not mapped one-to-one to the operating system thread, it's a virtual, and they can run inside one thread and affected by the cores that you have. So virtual thread now, it's a 2-net preview API to allow more time to collect feedback. There is no much changes happen, some few changes, which is 2 new overloaded methods has been added to the thread class: join, taking duration, and sleep, taking also argument as duration. And new methods in the future class to make sure to give us information more about the state, which is result now, exception now, and state of the future. And also changing to executor servers has been done to extend auto-closable interface, and also preparation for the removal of several thread groups method, because their implementation has been changed to do nothing and throw illegal operation exception since JDK 19. So we are following the pattern to deprecate more, because there is no more, they are not safe, as we're gonna see later on. So this all what we can introduce, and the changes happen. So it's more collection for feedback, and if there is no more feedback and nothing to change, it's supposed to be standardized and finished in Java 21, JDK 21. So for about the structured concurrency, there is a little bit enhancement happen, but this is the goal of structured concurrency, actually, to simplify the multi-threaded programming by introducing this new API. And also structured concurrency treat multiple tasks running in the different threads as a single unit of work, thereby streamlining error handling, cancellation, improving readability, and enhancing observability. And they have a very big code about how it's really done in JDK 20 and 19 as an example, so you can check it out. And structured concurrency, this is the second incubation, because they both came together into JDK 19, similar to virtual threads. And the only change here is to update structured task scope class to support inheritance of the scoped value, because this is how you can share. And if you have multiple tasks and the main caller would like to share data with these subtasks, you can just use scoped values to share this data between these subtasks in one scope. So those also, or about all the features, enhancement, changes happen to Project Loom, and now we are talking about Project Panama, which is more concerned about accessing data outside of the JVM or native libraries. So in order to have this, we have foreign functions and memory API. And actually, this is the second preview after 2 incubation since JDK 17. And the foreign and function memory API enable access to native memory, which is off the heap memory outside the Java heap, and access to the native code, usually C libraries, directly from Java. And it's a replacement for JNI, Java Native Interfaces, which was error prone and cumbersome to write, and it's complicated to handle. This is bring more robustness and performance, and also more safe access to memory, especially outside the GVM. You can map files, you can do a lot of stuff which has been workarounds developed in the big data application like Spark to map the large file into memory. But I don't want to introduce a lot of memory of my application just to read the file. So I can read it outside, then I can have access, then serialize it, and my main application still using 4 gig or 5 gig of memory, while sometimes I could would like to map teras or gigas of byte file into memory. So make use of heap memory. Will also produce give us like the cost optimization when we are running code on cloud. So with this JIP, quite few changes were made to the API. The memory segment class and memory address abstractions are unified. So memory addresses are now modeled by zero-length memory segments. So we have sealed memory layout hierarchy to enhance to facilitate usage of pattern matching with switch, so we can use it to access different types. And also memory session has been splitted into arena and segment scope to facilitate sharing segments across maintenance boundaries. So we will see a code how we're gonna this enhancement has been done. So imagine that I would like to access a string library in string len, a string library in C++ libraries, standard libraries, which called str length, and that return a string, and they would like to pass a string and get the length of that string. How can I use it? Using the new foreign functional memory API. So this is our code. So first of all, I have to have simple lookup, and they will get default lookup. And secondly, I have to call to have a method handler of the method, and also point what is the return type and the method call. So here the method, I will look up for string strlen as a method, and I'm expecting that it will return Java long, and providing the address also that it will be accessed. And here I would like to path allocate UTF string happy Java conference. And this is, I wanna, the string that I would like to get back the length of that string, calling that method. And finally, I will have the long by calling the method, invoke this memory segment, and I will have the length, then I will print it. This was the old way of doing this kind of access. In the new way, based on the segmentation, we have this code. It's similarly exact example, but only the change are, you can see that method handler is the same, how we call it, the expectation, how do we do the lookup, and also the only way that we have here the change is we have the split of the memory in the arena and memory session. So we have arena of the heap, and I open the confirmation using try resource. So when it's done, it will be auto-closed automatically. Then I call using memory segment, specific memory segment, the content that I have get in the method call here, and then I will get the length at the end, and then return the length from this method. So this is the change happened to foreign memory, foreign functions and memory API. So it's more enhancement and make the API more easier to use. So Vector API, the Vector API define the vector computation. It's not the vector class that we have in collections, because there is sometimes misconceptions about this one. So this is actually went through the 5th incubation in GDK 20. So it's long time we had have this API out there, but there is a lot of enhancement and support for multiple hardware also. This is why it's still in incubation. So this JEP proposed to re-incubate the API in the GDK 20 with no changes in the API relative to GDK 19. It just, the implementation includes small set of bugs, fixes, and performance enhancement. And also make sure that it's aligned with Project Valhalla, because it's a critical part of completing the Vector API. So this I think, all about Project Panama. And it's nice time now to go into what's new in the language, like the hidden gems also, which we're not targeting using Java enhancement proposal. So we have a new enhancement, which is, I see, lovely. So always, if you have an interview or something, that you can ask your interviewee, what is difference? What will happen here? What do you think? We have short A and short and in B, and we have compound assignment A plus equal B, and then I would like to print. So, and A equal A plus B, which is normal assignment, and then I would like to print the value. So what do you expect from this? So sometimes I expect that it will throw compilation error in the first line because A is short and the result of combination compound assignment will be integers, so it will be compilation error, but actually it was wrong. It's not compilation error. It will be evaluated and printed, but the error will definitely shown on the normal assignment. So the compiler actually implicitly cast, and here the problem is you will get a different number. It's not 75,000 as a number. It will be this number, which is overflow actually, because of the truncation happened to the end to short implicitly. So this is something was annoying and could bring you an explicit, especially for juniors, and something like this could introduce you some inconveniences. So we wanted to have it more predictable. So since Java 20, there is introduction to a lint option called loosely conversation, and this will generate warning about typecast in compound assignments such as plus equal, multiplied equal, division, whatever it is, that could result in the following. So if you are compiling your class, the previous example like this using xlength, you will receive this error that this compound assignment will have there is implicit cast from end to short, and combined assignment is possibly lose values. So take care of it, and you have to fix it. So this is one of the enhancement. Another enhancement that now we have a new compress command line option for Gmod. Gmod actually tool is the Java SE allows developers to create Gmod archive, a new type of archive introduced in Java 9 back then, that provide a modular way to package Java runtime component and their dependencies, because we introduced modules. So with Java 20, if the module is really big, you can zip it, and with compression level. So the compression option has been introduced to and addition to Gmod tool, and this specify compression level to be used while creating Gmod archive as the following. By default, Gmod tool will compress the content as a zip format, and also it accepts the values ranging from zip-0 to 9, while zip.0 indicate no compression, and 9 is the highest, so the best compression. But the default here, if you don't do anything, just compression, you will have it as a zip-6. So this is how we can compress, and this is a new addition. Maybe if you are using languages and you like emojis, and we have some problems with Grapham support for break iterator. So this is has been enhanced to follow the extended Grapham cluster break defined in Unicode Consortium Standard Annex 29 for character boundaries. It seems complicated when I mention, but let me give you an example to understand what is it. So this update may result in deliberate behavior change, because in the prior implementation prior to Java 20, primarily it's split at the code point boundaries for most characters. For example, if you have this US flag and Grapham for 4-member family, if you are using the old way, so and you would like to split it, it will be splitted like this. U, then comma S, then all the family members as this, with splitted with D, Z, W, J, or Ya. So with the new implementation, it will be splitted like this: a flag, then the Grapham. boundaries. So while ZWG stand for zero wide joiner. So this is a new enhancement, has been done also to follow the new standard Unicode Consortium standard. And also I would like to mention that GDK 20 is updated to support Unicode 15, which is the latest, and also the latest data set for date and time. And also yes, the default character set encoding also. So you have a bunch of enhancement if you would like to have new emojis and a bunch of stuff. Java documentation gets some enhancement. So, we can see the preview classes and APIs inside the API, but you don't know where they are came from. So, or the origin and the purpose of those. So we propose to have enhancement. So this is the old way. If you have seen in the list, you have the preview API, you can check the interfaces, classes, enums, methods, and they are abbreviated with preview feature. And then, but you don't know actually from which API or JEP or project they came from. So in the new way, you can have this preview APIs and which JIPs are out there, and you can filter. You can choose all of them, and you can say, okay, I would like to see only the new changes brought to us by JIP for 112. So you can just check it. You will see all the APIs, and this is how it's more for readability and know about the origins. We are focusing in what you would like to understand more than just giving you the bunch of the changes. And you have to go back to the JIP forward and back to understand where is this came from. So you remember when we talked about Project Amber that switch expressions enhanced to throw match exception for sealed classes, hierarchy, and record pattern. Now also it has been enhanced over enums. So the same behavior, it will be actually done with enums. So if when you enable preview feature using this flag, definitely dash dash enable preview, if the selector expression produces an expected enum constant value, the match exception will be thrown instead of the old incompatible class change error. So this situation can occur in the new enums, and you have different statement trying to switch over the enum values, and you added a new enum value, and you're trying to compile, run, you will get this error immediately. Similarly, same like sealed classes, and same behavior. So this was enhancement, but it doesn't come into JEP. So it's time to the last section of this presentation, which is the farewell to API that has gone forever, and we have to know it because of we are migrating. So we have to know which classes is going to be deprecated, which functions, methods, in order to prepare our code for the new version of GTK. So here, identity hash map actually remove and replace method use object identity. Identity hash map, if you don't use it, because I think that it's not used frequently too much because it has really bug here and it has been fixed. Here I'm mentioning the API that is going to be removed, deprecated, and the bug fixes also. So this is a unique type of map that consider the key to be equal only if they are identical. Identical here means the comparison should be using equal, not dot equal. So, however, when the default remove and replace methods were added to the map interface in Java 8, they were not overridden in identity hash map to use equal equal instead of equal equals method, leading to a bug. And this bug has been corrected after over 8 years since it was introduced, which may suggest that identity actually hash map is not widely used or may contain some other bugs, but this was one of the hunted bugs inside the identity hash map. So again and again, on our way to deprecate and remove in the future thread methods like suspend, resume, and stop. The change to throw now. Before it was changed to do nothing, as I told you with Vector API. With a virtual thread, that changes to happen to some of the methods inside thread. Similarly, now it's throw unsupported operation exception. So why? Because it will be removed. So in JDK20, the removal of the ability to suspend or resume thread using suspend and resume has been removed, and it will, if you try to call it, it will give you an error, because imagine that those method has been deprecated since 1.2, and because we were only maintaining background compatibility, no action has been taken over the deprecated classes. And since now, since the new release cadence to move forward for innovation, yes, we are deprecating, changing behavior for future removal. So these methods actually were error prone and were prone to deadlock when you call. Similarly, ability to stop a thread using stop has been removed due to its unsafe nature of causing thread death exception. And since then, in the Java 19, actually, instead of using these methods, the corresponding methods in thread groups should be used. But as I told you, in Java 19, these methods were also changed to throw unsupported operation exceptions. So as a part of this change, also the thread death exception has been deprecated for removal. So soon, all these classes is going to be deprecated. The methods inside, and all in favor to introduce new classes that behave correctly. So we have a new constructors for over control and parsing and validating the URI. So the deprecation has been happened to the old URL constructor, or constructors actually. Instead, we are going to use the URI class to construct a final URL. So suppose that an instance of URL is still needed to open a connection. In that case, the java.net.uri can construct or parse the URL string by calling create and then calling to URL to have the URL instance at the end. So in the old way, we were doing something like this. We create using the constructor, and the new way we are using URI.create, giving the URL. This URL actually is the URL to my profile on Java Magazine. Then you can find all the blog posts, so you can make use of it. It's not fake. Then I will get the URL to get all my blogs in order to show it if I would like. So more enhancement over security by removing the old, not used, error-prone, vulnerable, ciphers, suit algorithms and stuff, in favor to introduce new stuff. And Java really do a very good job in order to catch up with the latest security enhancement. And there is a plan and roadmap for this. I encourage you to go to the Java documentation, release notes, and the security roadmap, and you will see where is each algorithms and catch up with the latest enhancement and innovation in the security topic inside the JDK. So it's not just deprecation, no, it's more and more addition. So in this regard, TLS, ECDH, all family to enhance the security, this kind of cipher suits has been disabled by default. So and this has been done by adding ECDH to the JDK TLS disabled algorithm security property in Java.security configuration, because those cipher suits lack forward secrecy and are hardly even used in practice. So also DTLS version 1 has been disabled. This is a protocol actually, and has been disabled in similar way to put it in the disabled algorithms. And if you are trying to attempt to make use of this, you will get SSLH handshake exception. So it's not used anymore because it's so weak. It's weak in the security and lack of support of stronger cipher suits. And we have also you will get an error if the default security file fails to load. So previously, when the default security configuration file config security.java.security failed to load, the JDK would fail back to using the hard-coded default configuration. But since JDK 20, to enforce this kind of security, the default configuration file, if they fail to load the GDK, will throw internal exception or internal error instead of the hard-coded default configuration. So this is very important to understand and to know. Definitely, this is a small session, to be honest, to cover the most obvious thing that as a developer we would like to use and what we are using. So I have written a full article about the hidden gems with most and all the compiler changes, the tools and everything, that including those that I have shown to you, which needs like 1 hour or 2 hours that we can speak about it. So I encourage you to you will have it. If you are subscribed to Java Magazine, you will have it. And if you go there, you will find it will be published soon, because I just submitted like 1 week ago. So it will be online soon. So thank you for your attendance. I hope that you find this session really dust off, the dust over these, gems. And this is how we would like to, I share this kind of things, because it's very important when I work with companies and consultants or something, and we have to migrate, we are moving fast, not just only GDK, it's also the frameworks, like now Spring framework, now it's 3.05, it's out there and supporting Java 17. So you have to move somehow to new versions. So you have to keep sharpen your knowledge and sharpen your teeth with what's new in your GDK, because this is your language.
Thank you, Mohamed. It was really interesting to understand which changes we as Java developers could expect in a new released versions of Java. Thank you for joining us
Thank
today.
You. Thank you very much. It was my pleasure, and I hope that you will have a great completing the conference, because there is a lot of great speakers. Thank you for the invitation once more, and I was very happy to be among these great listeners as well. Keep in touch, and see you when I see you in different conference. Have a nice day.
See you. Bye.
Bye.